email that regularly lands in our inbox from Scrambler, Urban GS and Pure customers is the fact that a lot of them were introduced with the single clock and they don't necessarily want to have to put a double clock on from the factory fitment in order to get all the extra information that is stored under the bike. Now, we see it a lot and we think that this is probably one of the best fixes for it. This is a KOSO digital speedo. It takes minutes to fit and it will give you all of the extra information such as your rev and your gear indicator. It's a really, really good product. We've started fitting them to quite a few bikes, including our race bike and a lot of our builds, but it doesn't get anywhere near as much love on the website as we think it should. So we're going to show you how easy it is to fit and all the functionality that comes with it. What's in the box? The speedo. That's the beauty of this product. It really, really is good because this is the truest sense of a plug and play part. It's designed to fit the Gen 2, Gen 3, Urban GS, Scrambler, Pures that have the single clock. All you will need to do is undo a screw at the back. You'll use the same hardware that you've got on the bike already, unplug the digital dash, or the dash that comes out of the bike, plug this one in, put the screw back in, and away you go. There's very, very little to it. So as well as being a simple, quick mod, it's a relatively simple amount of tools too. This is a T25 Torx bit and a ratchet. The only additional tool I've got then is a torque wrench when we come to put everything back together. Now, there's a small screw on the back of the OEM clock that's holding that in. Make sure not to drop that. And when I come to take the OEM clock out, you'll find there's a plug here. That's a simple pull, fitment, and a cut. That allows the clock to not move around once it's all fitted. So grabbing the KOSO, the geniuses at KOSO have made this so simple to fit. They made everything the same size as the OEM one. So again, I'm going to reverse the process here, plug that in. I tend to find it's easier to put the cup in here first, and then you can see I'm just going to wrap the wire around, slot that back in. Just going to come around here, put that screw in the back. That is going into a brass fitting, so you don't need to over-tight it, or certainly shouldn't over-tight it. 5 Newton meters is the torque setting that BMW give that. So I'm going to set our Wera torque wrench to 5 Newton meters, and there we go. Nice and simple. I'm going to come around and show you the functionality. Let's turn the ignition on and give you a good look. So the self-check procedure is going to do exactly the same thing as the OEM clock. You've got a huge speed display here. It's really, really obvious. Obviously with digital dash, it's going to be super bright so you can see it. And then in addition, we've now got a rev counter around the outside. So that's a new trick if you previously only had the single clock. On top of that, we've also got the gear change indicator down here. So it's in neutral currently. Obviously that will run through first through sixth. We've still got the fault codes. You can see them here. The headlight isn't fitted to this bike, so you've got the headlight bulb fault code showing there. So all of your regular fault codes will show up. There are loads of other really cool additional points on here. Or certainly the most one, if you're a UK rider and you're back and forth on the continent, if you press the menu button and just flick the light switch, you'll see that this has changed from kilometers. I'll do it again. So you have to do it on the main screen here. Press that down, give it a quick flick, and it changes back to miles an hour. So if you're actually out on the road and going overseas, then you can actually change that between miles an hour and kilometers an hour. Everything else is exactly as you would expect with the OEM clock. You come into the menu, you can still do all of the other bits that you might need to do. It's perfectly good and perfectly functional as you're used to with the OEM clock. You're just gaining additional parts on that.